I worked for the Domino's on Circle Galley for 3 years, 2016-2019. At the time, the printer's home was still in operation as a nursing and hospice care facility. We had orders to the building multiple times a week, and I would often be the driver that took those orders. Deliveries come through the rear entrance in the basement, so I always walked down a very long, creepy hallway past the billiards hall to the tiny 1800 staircase that took you to the patient floors. One day, as I walked down the hallway, I heard someone playing pool, and in the 3 years of delivering, I had never seen another soul in that part of the building, so I decided to check it out. As I reached for the door handle, I hear huzzah and the sound of the cue ball clacking. Surely an old man was playing a game with a nurse or something, but the room was empty. The pool tables were covered in white sheets, the lights were off. My whole body froze, goosebumps everywhere. I promptly closed the door and quickly walked to the stairs before I hear the same door I just closed swing open and then shut itself. I probably looked as pale as a glass of milk. I haven't been spooked like that at all in recent memory. I never took another delivery to that building again.
My house, a Victorian cottage built in 1899 and since added on to and basement finished, is part of the final edition Bot Park. Where Fairview Cemetery is, to old Colorado City definitely has energy. We are less than 1 mile from Gold Camp Road BTW. My husband and I have been awakened multiple times in our basement bedroom to what sounds like about 3 people talking and listening to old music. Above us in the old part of the house, that is the sitting room, can hear them shift their weight on the floor above us too. It's the same thing each time. Sometimes we hear steps above us too. Same spot each time. One night as I was getting in bed, I, for the first time ever, felt unsafe randomly and felt like I was being watched. After I had fallen asleep a while later, I awakened to my K-PAP turning off. The power to one room went out that I was asleep in. My watch started going off. The security system went off randomly, and it really freaked us out. Then we remembered the inspection report had mentioned evidence of a fire in the very unfinished back then basement a long time ago. We checked the breaker box and have an issue of some sort, so having an electrician look at it almost seemed like someone was trying to get our attention to beware.
So I used to be the grounds manager for Denver Public Schools, and one time I had to go visit Dora Moore to meet with the principal to discuss why the school's landscaping looks like hell, when there's 2,000 kids running around in a space just big enough for one border collie. Anyways, I digress, so I have to go into the basement to check out some plumbing, and she's telling me a story about how the school is haunted, and how they found the old caretaker's quarters a few years back in the basement. It was blocked in with bricks, but everything was left as it was like 100 years ago, which is crazy itself. People used to live at the schools and take care of them at the same time. Dora Moore was built with these chases on the exterior walls so someone could walk around the school behind the walls unnoticed and look into the rooms. That's feeling creepy too. So I'm going around the school and she tells me to check out a security camera video. In the office there's a big picture hanging on the wall. The picture was hung onto anchored screws. In the video you can see one side of the picture lift up and then fall and swing as the other screw held it up. Then it's as if something lifted the picture and let it drop on the floor. Freaking crazy, man. That stuff was for real. So Dora Moore is haunted for real. Seen it with my own 2 eyes.
I've got a few. I used to serve and bartend at a place called La Cour on South Broadway. La Cour closed, but it looks like there's a new establishment going in there. Previously, the building housed the Tavern 13 and a Heidi's Deli. It was a jazz and wine bar. Frequently, while closing, me and my co-workers would hear footsteps upstairs or notes being played on the piano. We knew we were always the only 2 people in the building. One night, we were both upstairs in the lounge cleaning and heard what sounded like an entire rack of wine glasses falling and shattering on the ground floor. We ran downstairs to find nothing amiss. Another place I used to work, the Open Tap and Grill, formerly Café Cero, now Chiva, had a spirit upstairs. On a few occasions, I would see a light on in a locked storage room. You could see the light in the crack under the door. I would go downstairs to get the key, come back upstairs, and the light was off. One of these times, after returning upstairs, I turned around to go back downstairs and heard a female voice behind me say, "Hey." The only other person in the building was my co-worker, downstairs cleaning the bar. I used to frequent Gennaro's. I'd frequently hang out after close with the manager and bartender. One night we were talking about the spirits in the basement and the mafia history of the building. We went downstairs and did an EVP session. We got an exceptionally clear response to one question. "Did you die down here?" Yes.
Me and colleagues went to an abandoned care home. Kids had been getting in during the day and smashing up the old sinks and mirrors, etc., so it was a bit of mess on the lower floors. The upstairs were still locked. We get a phone call from a local resident saying there is a light in one of the upper windows. There is no electric to the building, so someone must be inside. We attend and find the upper doors have been unlocked, so go around the building. 3 of us in total. We spread out, as this is how all good horror films start, and start looking around the place. The place is in silence, as what we normally do is attend and just stand still for 20-30 seconds, see if we can hear anything. As I am searching the rooms towards the end of the corridor, I see someone walk past the room I am in. I absolutely shit myself, but just think it's one of my colleagues walking past. I look outside, and there are 4 rooms left to the end of a dead-end hallway. I am on the 3rd floor, so check the rooms, which are all empty. Nowhere for anyone to hide, as it's completely empty. I genuinely ran to the stairwell, and one of my colleagues P2Ps me saying lower is clear, and they are in the downstairs hallway. I go down the stairs, and they say I am white as a sheet lol. Never did find anyone in the building. It was 4 a.m., so could have been a trick of my eye's shadow as I turned around. But it still genuinely freaks me out.
My dad may have been part of a witnessed paranormal encounter with the police in the 70s. He was a telegram boy and had to deliver a message to a house in the rural countryside. Drove up a lane past a really lovely-looking orchard and garden that was well-maintained. Knocked at the door and a maid took the telegram. She was dressed really old-fashioned like a Victorian Edwardian maid. So my dad at the time thought it was odd, but assumed it was fancy dress or something. Driving back on his motorbike, he said he felt weird, like he was in a sort of dream fog. He rode up the lane past the gorgeous orchard and saw a police car parked opposite the lane with 2 police inside. My dad said it was like they were looking at him but couldn't see him, and then he said it was like they were shocked, like he appeared out of nowhere, like a ghost. They started the car and tore off ASAP. My dad thought this was really weird, and when went back asked about the telegram, the contents of which are really confidential, the same as the post, but they usually told the person if it was bad news, like a death, so the telegram deliverer didn't turn up with a big grin or smile, etc., but no, nothing wrong with the telegram. A few days later, my dad was delivering in the same area and out of curiosity looked up the lane again to see it. The house was normal, no old-fashioned maid, no police, nothing weird at all, except that really gorgeous orchard was in ruins, like it was overgrown and dilapidated and had been that way for years and years. The only explanation my dad, who isn't superstitious at all, has for it, other than ghosts or a time-slip thing, is some sort of trance or something like overactive imagination or something. But it was weird all the same. I imagine the police parked there probably thought it was strange also,